Let's go. Good evening, racing fans. Welcome back to the channel, proudly sponsored by betting.co.uk. So we are fully in the festive mode now. I know we haven't really dressed up other than the lovely Dawn, but we are here to get stuck into all of the Christmas action for you. I know there's stacks of content out there at the moment, so we'll try not to take up too much of your time. We'll just go around the room, getting a little bit of an opinion on the race. And then at the end, we'll try and bring you a bit of a festive nap selection as well. But as you can see, we've got some new guests with us for today's episode. But let's say hello to my usuals first, shall we? Scotty Bad Boy, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. Feeling a bit under the weather, but had a 15-hour drinking session yesterday. So yeah, I'm feeling good today.
Festive break, much deserved, Scotty. I know you've been working hard lately, haven't you? So much deserved, mate. Jaime, how are you doing, my brother?
Not too bad, Joe. In the festive season, all right. Absolutely hammered out of my head last night. Had a great time. Got a bit of bad news this morning, a friend of mine, but sure,
Yeah,
life goes on, and sure, looking forward to Christmas.
it does, James. It does, James, indeed. But look, thanks for being here, James. I know it's been a tough time for you today. We did all actually have a bit of a discussion whether we were even going to bother tonight because we were all feeling that bad. But how could we let everyone down? We've got some special guests. As you can see, we've brought some glamour to the episode today. We've got Dawn at Leadon-Bolger. If you don't know Dawn already, I will put Dawn's Twitter below. She's must follow over on Twitter. Dawn, I can see you're feeling festive. Welcome to the show.
Feeling festive as fuck, as they say, Joe, and fresh off birthday celebrations as well. I'm just out of the juvenile section now, so yeah, I'm a little bit shook, but I'm not wrecked. That's kind of my whole saying for 2023: shook but not wrecked. But Lucia cured the hangover today. 9-1 fun. I backed her at 4 o'clock this morning. The finger just flopped onto Paddy Power.
I think you had more than that as well. I had a look on your Twitter. There's just winners galore at the moment. I don't know how you're really doing it, Dawn, but certainly finding them every single day at the moment. And Pete, how are you doing, my buddy? Risk for rewards, as you will know, on Twitter. Fresh from his 16-1 winner on Victorino, who, as you know, obviously went on and won at 4-1 today. So, Pete, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, no, I'm good. It's pretty disappointed you didn't introduce me as glamorous as Dawn. When it was glamour, looking good, I was thinking, this is me. I was like, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
No, I'm
massive build up, massive letdown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I thought
just a back number now, Dawn.
Well, you didn't come dressed as Santa as promised, Pete. So I wasn't really going to give you too much airtime on that one, though. But
yeah, to be fair, not the most festive right now.
No, well, we've got to get ready because we've only got a day and a half to go. Most of us think Christmas starts on Boxing Day, as we know, because we've got the King George to get stuck into. And we won't waste too much time. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. We're just going to jump into the action, give you a few thoughts, and hopefully we can bring you some Christmas winners on the way. Right, we're going to start off with the 120 at Kempton. We've got the Labrooks Cato Star Novices Chase here. We've got some really nice runners in the lineup as well. Hermes Hélène at 2-1, joint favourite with Ile Francois. We've also got Giovinco at 5-2, and pretty much any price you like for the remainder here. Who should we start with then? Scotty, who do you fancy in the Cato Star? How do you see it panning out, buddy?
I see it as a pretty difficult race to work out from the French form perspective. I think Ile Francais, my local friend, bonjour. I don't know how they work out the handicap ratings in France, to be honest. I think he's had a couple of runs over fences, and I don't think he's gone past 2.5 miles. Maybe he just went over that 2.5 mark. But I see him today. He finished in hurdle race at the back end of last year behind the anti-post favourite for the stayers, Telem. And he was well beaten in that race. But it's one of those races where if you're taking a 6-4 poke about something that we really don't know a whole lot about, he's obviously got the potential and he's been back the last few days, but I'm happy just to let him go. And if he wins, I'll say whatever, couldn't care less about backing him. But I think Giovinco is going to be a popular horse. I know my good friend Mr. Wrenn likes him. I was there at Sandown when he ran that cracker behind Stay Away Faye, and I just said before the race, I was like, if he beats Stay Away Faye over 3 miles on that heavy ground, then he's an absolute worldie. And to be fair, he wasn't far off doing it. Yeah, he got hampered by the loose horse the last day, and obviously I think Harry Compton rode a race pretty good on Stay Away Faye. I think the only thing that concerns me about him and Hermes Allen is just the quick turnaround from the last day. Obviously, Hermes ran at Newbury, and he was very impressive. Marble Sands was in that race. I think he's won. He's 33 to 1. He's not going to win, but he would definitely improve, I think, for the step up and trip. He's got 11.5 lengths to find on Hermes Allen, but I will definitely be interested to see how he goes for a trip down the line over 3 miles. But yeah, if I was going to be having a bet, do you know what? I think Hermes Allen is going to be a Turner's horse. I don't think he's an out-and-out 3 miler. That's just the impression I get. But if he's going to get 3 miles anywhere, it will be Kempton. And is he in the same mold as Brave Man's Game and Stage Star from that kind of shallow hurdle moving on to a novice chaser? I don't know. If I was going to have a bet, I'd probably go for Giovinco, just from the fact I think Kempton will suit him. He's a sound jumper, and I think he's one to keep on side. I think Giovinco will probably win, but if he doesn't, then I couldn't care less about Leadon-Bolger. Sorry, I'm just being honest. And yeah, I'll go with Giovinco.
I thought you'd be all over the French Oaklet, Scotty. You'll probably get some stick from the Cheltenham Exchange boys about that one.
Yeah.
But Marble Sands, Scott, he's actually gone out to 50 to 1. It is pretty big considering that he was going off quite a short price against Hermes Allen last time out. But yeah, okay, cool. Giovinco for Scotty. Let's go over to Dawn. Dawn, how do you see the KO Star? Who's your little fancy in this one?
Well, look, you go back and you look back at history, and you even seen Shan Blue today, who was second, a very good second. Looking back to his old form, he was one that I kind of cliffed. I didn't cliff today, though. You had Tyne Hill, Coney Gree before. Do I think we've got a Coney Gree or a Tyne Hill in here? Possibly not. Or a Brave Man's Game? Possibly not. Giovinco, I took him on, and it pained me to take him on because stay away, Faye. I bemoan. Almost, as they say to the other lads on DigiTips, almost is the saddest word. And I talk about Corbett's Cross when he flattened himself through the wing, and I go, would he have given Faye a race? But we're talking about Giovinco here. And yeah, okay, you can say there was a loose horse, etc. at Sandown. But I think when Faye eyeballed him, he backed down. And I just wonder, will that have left a chink now this time if he gets eyeballed again, like by the likes of Hermes Allen or Marble Sands, who is an absolute whopper? I see what you guys are saying. He is a whopping price. The Frenchie, I am not going to attempt to pronounce that name. My French is woeful, although I j'adore France. But what with Giovinco, my case is as well. I scraped back a lot of the time, and I went to his point-to-point history and Find a Fortune, who Gordon has, runs at Leopardstown to 29th. He was second to him before, so I scraped back to that bit of point-to-point form too. You've also got Universal Folly in there, you know, the Aintree bit as well. Universal Folly was second the other day, a very good second again. Now, okay, I will make a case for Hermes Allen too. He got his grade 2 novice, and he was third to Irish Point. Irish Point I will talk about later, that beautiful unicorn. And he beat You Wear It Well. 6th in the Ballymore. That Ballymore with bloody Impere Pass. Pain in my arse. But what did that give you? That gave you Gary Gaelic Warrior, and it gave you Champ Kiley, soon to be seen in the spring. So am I very split between Hermes Allen and Giovinco? I am, because now my head has been turned by Stay Away Faye. I'm going to go with Scotty here, and I'm going to say Giovinco because of the Stay Away Faye factor and because of Corbett's Cross flattening himself. I know it sounds bonkers, but that's where I'm heading. And Marble Sands, I think, take another look if you want some value.
Love that, Dawn. Fair play. You are brilliant, aren't you? Absolute class. There's 2 for Giovinco to get us off to the start. Let's go to Pete. How do you see the KO Star, buddy?
I pretty much echo very similar to what both the others have said. I mean, the French horse, I just don't get these people. I even put it up today on Twitter. I said, where are people getting this 6 to 5? It opened up out with Bet365s. It's now around 6 to 4, 2 to 1. And I went through, I said, where are you getting this form that entitles it to be that price? And someone said, oh, it's Hurdle's form is miles better than the others. You look through Hermes Allen and Leadon-Bolger, they had, I think there's about £2 between their best RPRs, both Group 1 winners. So that's clearly not true. And I think there's about £5 between the front 3 in the market from Hurdle's form. And you look for his chase career, and he's beat absolutely nothing. I mean, okay, yeah, look, he must look good doing it. But if you put Hermes Allen or Giovinco in those fields, they do exactly the same. So I mean, I'm not saying that horse can't win. I just think it's way too short. So it's just an easy skip there. Hermes Allen was a horse I really, really liked all the way up until he got to Cheltenham. And it gave me two things. One, I thought that normally Skelton and Paul Nicholls are the ones to catch up to about January, February time. They take everything, all the Group 1s, early doors. They have the horses 100%. And then come March, some of them are beginning to go down. But at the same time, I also was disappointed. I thought maybe that's just his level. Maybe he's Group 1 level, obviously in the Challow, beating you wear it well. But come to Cheltenham Aintree, maybe he got a little found out, especially by the Irish. At the same time, there isn't any Irish in here, but I'm still happy to take. I think Hermes Allen, as much as he was impressive on debut, he only beat Nickelback, and I think Nickelback, if he was ridden by, I don't want to knock a jockey, but if he was ridden by someone he kind of lost his confidence the further the race went, made a bit of a mistake, and then the horse and jockey weren't in sync, and I think he would have got closer to him. And the bottom line is, I love Stay Away Faye. And so that's the form line. I think Stay Away Faye so far, especially this side of the water, the best 3 mile form is Stay Away Faye. Giovinco, I hate the phrase, lost nothing in defeat, but he just looked like a big, raw baby. He'd never been off the bridle. I don't know whether it was because he hadn't been off the bridle, he didn't know what to do, or it was just the fact that Stay Away Faye, which, as we know, is a really strong stayer. Either way, I think that's probably the best piece of form coming into this race. And I think that marks him out as the one to beat. And also the fact he's the outsider of the front 3. So, yeah, Giovinco for me.
Yeah, interesting. 3 for Giovinco then already. I definitely see what you mean as well by Nickelback's ride. I think he had James Best on that day, and it possibly didn't see like he's finished out his race correctly. So there could be, like you said, a few more lengths to find there, Pete, for sure. So that's 3 for Giovinco.
Well, just going back to that,
Joe.
Joe. They've also, James Best is jocked up, but Nickelback's also been dropped back to 2 miles on the 27th.
Okay.
So we'll see. I think it was a combination of the jockey, and I think 2 miles will suit him much better.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it definitely adds a bit of spice to the pot, doesn't it? Then if Nickelback's going dropping back in trip, I'm not totally sure why they do. I did actually think he'd be better as a 2.5 miler, but again, that just adds to your case there for Giovinco as well. James, is it going to be a full house for Giovinco, or have you got a different opinion to the 2 lads and Dawn so far?
No, not at all, Joe. So a 4 for Giovinco. Basically, the lads have said what I said. Really, I don't like Hermes Allen. Never liked him. Will it never like that horse?
You're mean. You're mean.
Will it stay 3 miles on that ground? LA France, like I see it's like top rated 151 official rating with Hermes Allen. Where are they getting that 151 from? The horse has never been on good ground, and that horse will not go on that road. That's going to be a road for St. Stephen's Day. Sorry, we call it St. Stephen's Day over here. So for me, the best form, exactly what Pete says, best 3 miler in Britain at the moment is Stay Away Faye. But the better ground, Giovinco will for the better ground. And say if Stay Away Faye was in this race, and it was against Giovinco on this ground, Giovinco would walk all over Stay Away Faye in this ground. So it's, as Pete said, raw baby. But look, I suppose the more pace in the race, hopefully there'll be a bit more pace in the race, and it'll get Giovinco home. Do you know what I mean? I suppose there is that nagging doubt, as Dawn said, that if you eyeball him, what's going to be left at the final fence? Do you know what I mean? If Hermes Allen eyeballs him, will he find off the bridle? But I just can't see anything beating Giovinco.
How are they going to ride him in this sort of race, though? Are they going to? They'll
ride. I suppose they'll ride him to get it. It looked like they were like he was. I suppose he was raw, obviously, but it looked like the jockey Mull Queen was riding him to get the trip, and then he thought, "Oh, here comes Stay Away Faye." But that's Stay Away Faye's ground, like, do you know what I mean? Especially the big hill as well. But this more speedy track obviously is definitely going to suit him. But look, if he doesn't win, he's going to go back to 2.5 miles, and he'd probably run in the Turners. So they do I like this horse, and look, will he be the Gaelic Warrior Turners? Oh God, no. But for now, he's probably the best. Hopefully, he's the best 3 mile flat track horse in the UK. So we'll see what we get. Like, but like the price is, he's like 3rd favourite now. I'll have a bit of that.
Yeah, he's just gone out again to 11-4. He's definitely got the. I think on this sort of deep ground as well, he's the one that's probably going to travel the best as well. He's not one that does too many things wrong. So I think what we could guarantee with Giovinco, he's going to be there at the final fence no matter what happens. But I am going to break the chain here, guys. I actually think Hermes Allen's a pretty decent bet here. Like you guys, I can't really figure out the LA France.
You know who you're siding with, really. You were watching ITV today. You all know where the right side. For God's sake.
It's all about Hermes Allen in this one, Dawn. I'm telling you, he's a really
Joe.
I mean, look, Giovinco's a walk in the park, isn't he? He's going to be a big, bold chaser. He's going to get better with time. But there's just something about Hermes Allen I really like. And I was at the Newbury Gallops with him before he won the Grade 2 last time out at Newbury. And he worked with a horse called Complete Unknown. And he looked just twice the size of Hermes Allen. And that just gave me a little bit of a worry about how well that he was going to take to fences. But he was absolutely faultless at Newbury. I really like horses that try for you. He enjoyed his racing. He got better as it went on. I personally think this time we're actually going to see a monster performance from Hermes Allen. And I think then people are going to be questioning who the best 3-miler out of Nichols is too, as I really do think Hermes Allen's not quite getting the credit he deserves just yet. But you guys are all telling me Giovinco's going to win. I should probably just change my mind. But anyway, that's the Cato Star done and dusted. A really nice race. Can't wait to see how the French yoke gets on as well. But we move on just half hour later. We've got the Christmas hurdle then, gang. Now, this one's obviously not going to take too much time to figure out with the Beast Constitution Hill in here at 1 to 8. And hopefully he can go out and get the job done in really spectacular fashion. But let's go over to Scotty. I know you've got one of your favourite horses in this race here. Let's see if you've got anything to add into the mix, or is this just going to be a straightforward demolition job?
Constitution Hill 1, Rubo 2. That's what it is. Simple as that, mate. I love Rubo. He's my favourite horse in training, but even I'm not that stupid to say he'll beat Constitution Hill. And that's all I've got to say.
All right, fair enough. I mean, he's only a 5-year-old, isn't he? Now, is he? Yeah, he's a 5-year-old as well, so he'll probably do better again next season. But yeah, Scott, you love that horse, don't you? Do you reckon he could go on to something like the Greatwood or something next year, or do you think he's more of a graded animal?
No. Do you know what I'd like to see him do? It sounds silly. I'd actually like to see him go to Punchestown at the end of the season and run there and see how good he really is. If he gets within 6 lengths of Connie on Tuesday, I'd be like, yeah, fair enough. He's got a squeak, but depends what, again, in Perry Pass State, man, they'll all be there. And that race, Constitution Hill probably won't travel. So I think that could be his last run. Potentially, he'll stick him away. But yeah, hopefully he'll go. It'd be nice to see him there.
Yeah, definitely. We don't do it enough anymore, I find. There used to be so much more crossover in with the English and Irish racing, but never mind. Pete, is it just going to be a straightforward job?
That's because you're afraid of us.
We are.
Completely afraid.
We can't hide the fact we haven't got the ammunition.
Ducking and diving.
Yeah,
Ducking and diving.
Absolutely. We're taking grade 3 at Exeter instead. I think that's the better thing for us. Like, Pete, Constitution Hill, likely to be a good thing. Anything to add on the race though?
Not really. I think he'll win this in a canter. Maybe go to trials, Dave, something different. Probably win that in a canter. Take the Cheltenham Champion Hurdle in a canter. I reckon he will go to Ireland this year, just because he went to Aintree for the 2 mile 4, and I don't think he really enjoyed that further trip, which is why he stayed over hurdles. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes over to Punchestown, just because he's had a very light campaign so far. But I don't see anything beating him this year.
Do you think he's going to win the Champion Hurdle easily as well? Then, Pete, I know it's quite an obvious one. Just to hear what you think. Yeah,
I do. It depends. I prefer Imperi Pass over State Man. I've got nothing to knock on State Man, but it's just because he's a little bit more unexposed. I know it's easy to knock his comeback run, but that's not. I don't really understand why people look at that as a prep, like where 2 mile 4. I know certain horses get the 2 mile 4 really well, like a Honeysuckle and stuff, but there's not necessarily every champion hurdler is going to enjoy a 2 mile 4 trip. So, and I think that was plenty. There was plenty to like about that run. And I think he's unexposed. It just depends on if we see those two. I don't see those two taking each other on though either. The 2 Irish horses before the festival. I know Willie's talked about it this week, but I'm not buying that he's going to let them both let rip against each other before the festival.
Well, the thing is, if he runs Imperi Pass again, I mean, you put it well. Actually, I listened to you. I can't remember where I heard you say it, Pete, but you were mentioning that the bubble was burst for Imperi Pass now. That he's obviously been beat by Tia Hooper. They wouldn't want to get beat by State Man because they'd have nothing really to target for him then, would they, I guess, if that's the case. But
no, and I heard people were talking about the Stayers Hurdle, and I just surely you can't keep your horse from going over fences. Like they were talking about possibilities and being a future, like all these sort of possibilities over fences, to then keep him over hurdles and go Stayers would be tragic. So
this is exactly.
But I think you'll see a much better horse next time anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, he's probably going to need the run. A few of his were needing the run at the time, and I think we're very guilty of giving up on horses too soon as well. I really do think we see a bad run or what we perceive to be a bad run, and then we give up on these horses. And Perry Pass was there with Tia Hooper, who was a very, very good graded horse for a long way that day. I definitely don't think he's something that we want to give up on. And just what you mentioned about the Stayers as well, this is where I had a bit of an issue with Gaelic Warrior. Of course, I put him up for the Browns and thought I was being a bit smart, and I'm probably going to get a bit stung now with him going to the Turners. But it's the same. You can't have a horse with that much talent, that much raw ability at that age, and just keep them over hurdles without giving them their opportunity to go over fences. It just makes absolutely no sense. It really, really doesn't, does it? But
and it's a tragic division, the stairs at the moment.
is.
It's not like you're going to take on big bucks or something.
It just feels now, doesn't it, like we're using these horses that aren't quite fulfilling their potential and then just chucking them in there and hoping they're going to stay the best. Like perhaps a Hoist Senior's one that's going to drop back to the stays this year. I could really see him making a big impact with that sort of engine that he's got as well. If
he's got no chance in anything at the moment.
No,
the head's wrong. The head's wrong.
I was going to say, is that the case then, Dawn? You think he's just not quite ready to even race really effectively? He doesn't want it himself.
No. He's spicy enough, and what I'd even say about Imperial Pass, like Impy, I was there like most days in Ireland. I was there watching Impy beforehand, Imperial Pass, and going around the parade and you go, Jesus, he's the pick of the paddock. He's beautiful. But he was starting to get a bit blowy. He was starting to already get a bit blowy, and I was going, oh boy, you're feeling something here.
Yeah, sure.
And then he got revved up in the race, and even Jack said he was waiting to see a chink in the armour, and he's seen a chink, and he went up Tiapu. And I know, all fairness to Tiapu, I know we're saying the Stayers isn't a great division, but we've also got, I don't know whether any of you have heard about the French Whisperings, Telme, who was the one, the race Classical Dream was in an Otai. This is a real weapon that's coming over. And remember, we were all left with golden tweet all over our faces at Cheltenham in January too. Now, I'm not saying, but there's been a lot of talk, and I've gone back and watched, because I say I'm a bit of a Frenchy file, and I bemoan that we'll never see Jigme over this side or over your side. But just to carry on from that, I lead nicely in while I'm on my waffle. Conhill horsegasm. I mean, lads, we sit back and we enjoy. We pour ourselves whatever we like, and for me and Jamie, obviously it's Stevenson's day. Our feet are up. We're having a Tato sandwich. There's rows going on in the background. You're shouting, "Shut the fuck up! Have some respect." Horsegasm is on the box, and you just sit back. Like, I'm looking 9 lengths, 17 lengths, 22 lengths, 12 lengths, 14 lengths. He played with Saj at Aintree. He was being kind to the old boy. He was saying, you can look, but you can't touch. And he went on again. Rubod, I have a very fond feeling for him as well. Rubod, whatever you want to call him. And I will say, Nemean Lion, he didn't run today, and you're going to say I'm perfectly bonkers. Again, I'm going off the French factor. He was a good second in a Group 2 ARC weekend. During COVID, Kerry hasn't pulled him out of that other race for no reason. He's going to get his ground. And, if the wheels fall off the second horse or the third horse, not Conhill. You could get value. I like to put in a bit of a bonkers bet. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But he is a good horse in his own right. He was entered for the Fighting Fifth. He was going to face Conhill too. So, call me crazy, call me stupid. But lads, sit back, crack open whatever you like. Tell everybody else to shut up and just enjoy. And he is coming to Punchestown. Definitely. Nicky has promised. He's promised us we're getting him.
I love that, Dawn. I absolutely love that. I've just had a look. I didn't realise he had that sort of form over in France. He really does have some proper form stacking up, doesn't he, on the flat stuff, like from before. Dawn, you found us a right dark horse. Say that again.
Cheap, Joe. He was a cheap purchase too. This is what I'm saying. Like, 18 grand. And I mean, look at what he's already done.
Who's it you're looking at, Joe?
Nemean Lion for Kerry Lee.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna laugh here now at me, but I love it.
It wasn't that at all. I literally just looked. I saw Constitution Hill, and I didn't even look what he was racing against. I just skipped. And the same with betting. If someone says, "Oh, have you put it in a multiple?" I just click and add him in, and then just carry on.
Yeah, that's it.
To see what's in the race.
And he is sired by the one and only Golden Horn as well. So he's obviously got some sort of gears in there, Dawn, doesn't he? Fair play, Dawn. Well, there's one definitely to keep on side and have a look at for the each way players out there. And as you said to me earlier, Dawn, each way plays safe or something like that. You gave me pays. Each way pays. That's it. There you go.
Always pays on the day.
Each way plays pay. There we go. Awesome. Jamie, anything to add on the weapon being Conhill?
No. But exactly, what Pete said, it will be tragic. if Imperial Pass goes to the Relkey and then obviously onto the Stairs Hurl. I'm hearing a few whispers he could be going to the Stairs Hurl because they were very disappointed last time. But would he beat Teahupoo in the Stairs Hurl? But like, there's still that nagging doubt about Teahupoo after last year when he couldn't win that bad Stairs Hurl. So it's wide open. I'm happy with my 25-1 with Crambo as I put up on your show. So
Yes.
will he win the race? Am I that confident? No. But we're talking about the Christmas Hurl. Constitution Hill will win. Rubo will be good novice chaser next year around the flat tracks around Britain. He'll clean up there. Nemean
Ascot and
Lion,
Kempton and stuff.
yeah, Nemean Lion. I agree with Dawn here about the ground. Like, there's surely another big handicap in Nemean Lion on faster ground at Cheltenham and maybe in March. Maybe just want to keep an eye on. But as you said, Dawn's there to sit back and just watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. Like Dawn said, tell your family to keep it down just for 5 minutes while he does his thing. And then we can get back to the parties, can't we? Okay,
Exactly.
cool. Right, on to the 2:30 then. We're going to look at the highlight for Boxing Day, the King George Chase, the Grade 1 over 3 miles. Okay, it hasn't necessarily turned out to be a complete vintage renewal. That being said, we've got Allaho in here at 13-8, Braveman's Game at 9-4, Shishkin at 9-2, the Real Whacker at 10s, Hewick at 16s, and then the mighty Frodon out there at 66-1. Dawn, do you want to kick us off in the King George?
Yeah, right. Well, head, heart, and everything in between, right? So I'll start off with the head. Allaho, he is tailor-made for this. Willie has been gagging to send this horse to the King George. He has said it. And when you see Willie's eyes kind of twinkle over when he's talking about the horses, that's Willie's tell. You know they're good ones. I seen that at Galway when he started about Champ Kiley. The twinkle came into the eye.
Any chance?
Look, Ryanair, 2 Ryanairs, and Albert Bartlett third. Easy return. I mean, an easy return at Clonmel. I mean, Paul just had to sit there and enjoy. Like, we will just sit and enjoy. So, yeah, I have Conhill, I have Facile Vega, and I have Allaho in a 5. I got 5-1 for them. So I'm happy with my little three-way for Stevens's Day, Boxing Day. Shishkin, the old rogue, okay? I'm going to talk about Sean too for a minute, and we talk about Stay Away Faye. So they're both same daddy, and they are roguish as well. They're kind of brutish. Nico during the week has said the problem is if Shishkin plants himself, there's no getting round him. And on a big stage like that, and like I have them between my legs every day, and when they say no, they don't want to do something, it takes a lot, even from me, to get them. They will tell you, I ain't doing this. The cheap pieces are off. That's a positive. And we can never forget that Ascot with a Nerjamine. I mean, that was fairy tale stuff, lad. It really, really was. So, Hewick, the people's horse, last seen 14 to Ashtree Meadow. But if you go back and look at that Galway plate, some of the horses that have come on and come out and done well again, he's going to get his ground. I've already taken him for the Gold Cup because we had Shark on in a preview up to Galway, and he stands by, he says, Hewick, had he not come down, and I know you say, oh, well, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. You could say that now, but like he said Hewick would have been second in the Gold Cup. So would he be 16s had he have been? Poor old Brave Man's Game, I think there's been a chink left on him this year. He had a tough old season. But if the real Brave Man's Game turns up, then we can be very positive about Galloping the Champ for the Savils. I mean, this is the thing now. We're watching these two boys. We're saying, has the Gold Cup left a mark? But Allaho all day. He is tailor-made for this. Hewick for the romance, and Shishkin for a little bit of bonkers.
Love that,
so,
Dawn.
But
love
Allaho, everything goes with Allaho here.
So Dawn, would that be, again, you're the only one out of us 5 that does ride horses. That worry with Shishkin refusing, is that something that you would genuinely keep in mind now for the future? Or do you think it could have literally just been the day where he went, I don't feel like doing this today? Because we do forget their animals, you know, I mention this quite often. Is that a genuine worry for you that may happen again at Kempton?
100%.
Yeah, wow.
When they start getting things into their brains, you know, you'd have ones like, I retrain X-race horses too, and there's a guy down there, he works as a therapy horse, but if you ask him to go to a show, you'll go to the show in reverse.
Got you.
That's what he will do. And it doesn't matter what you try. Like you said, Joe, you make a great point that they are, and that's what we forget sometimes. They're living, breathing souls. And some days you can go into the stable and say, "Oh, we're not having any of it. I don't feel like it today." You know, they can be. And I just wonder with Shishkin now, because he's got cute to it. The same way you see some of the flatties, they won't get into the stalls. And once they start that too, you know to watch. Now, I'm sure.
Okay.
Nico is the right man to have on. Nico even rides Connemara ponies with his wife. So, you know, he rides every type of horse. So I'm sure everything has been laid in place. But a big day like that, right in front of the stands, if Shishkin says no, we could be looking at that again. And you could be talking about, you know, like a bit of a character. But look, we don't lose hope. We don't lose the faith. Maybe it was a one-off. Maybe he just didn't feel like it. Maybe he didn't like the cheap pieces. Might not like the cheap pieces, and now he can see where he's going. But I will take on board what Nico said. If he decides it's a no, it's a no.
Yeah, this is the thing, Dawn, isn't it? Again, I say to everyone, I said, horse will only do what it wants to do. No matter how big or small the jockey is, there's not a thing they can do to make that horse run if that horse doesn't want to go. It's simple, isn't it, really? Damn, Dawn, that's scaring some fear into my ticket on Shishkin, that is. James, how do you see it, buddy?
I suppose there's going to be a lot of pace in the race, number one, in it. There's a Whacker, Hewick, and Frodon. That worries me a small bit that Allaho can't dominate in the race. That really does, and the ground as well. He is getting old. He's getting on. He's been in a couple of wars. Will he like it? It's the one worry I have. No, he's by far the best horse. Like on his day, he's by far the best horse in the race. I've been on Shishkin for a while, as you know. I've backed him a good few times. Even when he went out to 7-1, I backed him again. My problem with Shishkin is that the pace in the race could kill him, and that he'll be a bit too far behind and won't be in striking distance come into the straight, or he could be tailed off, or he could be pulled up, and that's a huge worry. And obviously, there's the worry that he's not going to run. Do you know what I mean as well? So, but I think if he's there at the third last and with the pace, I think he'll stay on better than all of them, to be honest with you, because Brave Man Game only has one way of running, and it's just grind and grind. I know Brave Man's Game is a chink in the arm. Obviously, it was obviously a tough Gold Cup, but like the Gallop in the Champ was only beaten 2 lengths by faster, so people are getting carried away there. Like, I know he jumped crap that day in Durkin, but do you know what I mean? People are giving up about giving up.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Absolutely
like
crazy.
The way he jumped the first 4 fences, and he still was only beaten 2 lengths.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? It's bonkers, really. But to me, like Dawn says, heart says Allaho. With the craziness, obviously, is Shishkin, and I like Shishkin, but it's bad now when I'm coming down because of the way the race is going to pan out in my head, that it really is going to suit Brave Man's Game, and he is the safe option. I put that way. He's the safe option. But I obviously worried about last year, and he hasn't performed this year. But I think the better the ground and the faster they go, I think we'll get him home, and he could be the last man standing. Yeah, I think I'm going to go the safe way, and I think Brave Man's Game probably going to win.
Interesting. Yeah. All right, okay, James, nice one.
But I've backed Shishkin.
You have backed. Well, you got me onto Shishkin. I've just stuck with him since, to be honest.
But
the romance.
Exactly.
It's just he's proven.
We're all romantic. You've taken off the cheek pieces, Jamie. You've taken
We've taken off the lugs, Dawn. Yeah.
I was going to say they look like you've still got the cheek pieces on, James.
The sheep wool.
Yeah, that's it. I like what you said there about the pace as well with Shishkin, by the way. I see what you mean, because he could just get left too far behind even if he does stay, couldn't he? That's really interesting angle. I hadn't even contemplated that, to be fair. Pete, who do you fancy in the big one, buddy?
Right. So I was trying to keep this short. Basically, I've got absolutely zero love or attachment to horses. It's like they go from here to when it comes to the punting side, like Shishkin was by far my favourite horse in training. He won me my biggest ever amount of money when he won the Arkle, and he just went like. Then I was like, oh my god, amazing horse, the whole works. And then as soon as he beat Energamine in the Clarence House, from then on, I was just, even as soon as he won that race, I had I didn't put any more money. I was on for a big amount of the Champion Chase anyway, but there's something didn't really. And then obviously the Championship, and ever since I've never thought he's been right. I know the only run that I thought last year was Shishkin at his best was the Ascot run when he absolutely hammered Pick Dory, and he absolutely destroyed him. I know he won at Aintree, but I think that was a poor ride by a Hoy Senior. I think if Derek Fox was riding that day, I don't think he would have won. And everything James just said about with the whole pace setup, I find it so so where you start with all his quirks, but if he actually lines up and he jumps off, I'd be so worried that 4 or 5 fences in that he's just gone out with a washing because they've jumped so up. But at the same time, it's really so difficult to weigh up because I remember people say, "Oh, well, he's 4 for 4 at Kempton," but he's just a completely different horse. Like when he was back over 2 miles, he's just skimming over the top of the fences, like perfect. I don't understand where his jumping's gone, but like his head might have gone, but for whatever reason, his jumping, it's just sometimes it's rough, and it would worry me as well the fact that Henderson has tried to get a run into him to obviously first for fitness and then second obviously because of the whole situation jumping off, and I would not be surprised if he's left at the start. So that for me is a no for Shishkin. Hewick, if you ask me, like say if my family said who shall I back for the race for a bit of fun, that would be my pick 100%, because I think all of these have got chinks in their armour, but he's a big price, and like Dawn was saying about the Gold Cup, he was running a screamer in the Gold Cup. I wouldn't worry about anything that he's done like since then. Obviously, he won at Aintree, and he's got his ground. So I think he'll enjoy it. The real whacker would have been tailor-made, I thought, for this last season going into this season. But I did not like anything about that comeback run behind Stage Star. Just the way obviously he's pulled up and all this sort of thing. And then they said, "Oh, he's lame here." Like for me personally, the next step wouldn't be let's bang him straight back into one of the hottest King Georges. So I've just gone straight back to front two. I have backed the front two. I'm not going to tell you, like, I've got good prices on both of them anti-post. Brave Man's Game, after he got beaten in the Betfair Chase, I said it's an absolute no-go. And then I've had a couple of weeks to think about it. I sat and watched Ruby Walsh's documentary, and you look back at all of his horses, like when he talks, everyone remembers all the good times with Courto Star and Denman and stuff. But even he sat there and he's like, yeah, he didn't show up on that day. He didn't show up on that. All you remember is, oh, they won 2 Gold Cups. You don't remember that they might have got beaten when like really harsh odds on. And he also made the comment that as the season goes on, horses tend to find it easier to become fitter. So like as in first to second runs, the hardest to recover from. So then second to third, they get better and better. So, but Brave Man's Game, it completely depends what finishing effort he provides. He's going to get the perfect setup. And I think Paul Nicholls, I know it's probably throwed on Swan Song, but I think he put him in here, firstly, to make sure he had a pace and Brave Man's Game wasn't going to be making any sort of pace. And then also the other side of things was, if he wasn't going to be making the pace, he could pester whoever. So if Allaho's up top, Frodon's going to be there on his pestering him everywhere he goes. If it was the real whacker, he said whoever was going to be up top, Frodon was going to be pushing the whole way. Sue's Braves Man's Game getting a perfect toe the whole way through the race. Also hinders Shishkin, because if he misses a fence, he's going to be losing ground at every
who
fence.
Knows where he's going to end up.
Exactly. So, however, saying all of that, if Allaho turns up like as in the Allaho we know, then I don't think any of these will get anywhere near Allaho. I think, but at the same time, that run that we saw from him, 3 or 4 weeks ago, that was as preppy as you could get. That was like basically stay away from each other, let him do whatever he wants, let him run and jump out in front. So like if Allaho turns up, he wins. But for me, I'm gonna stick with Brave Man's Game because I just think he's a better horse around Kempton. But I think a lot of people have forgotten, like everyone's talking about Gold Cups and stuff. This is blatantly the most, take out obviously Stage Star not being here. This can be more of a Ryanair prep.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, as in you've got Allaho, Brave Man's Game and Shishkin. Allaho's won 2 of them. Shishkin won last year. And Brave Man's Game, Paul Nicholls has already said he's tried too hard to make this horse a stayer. So even if Allaho or Brave Man's Game wins, it would not surprise me if they went and did the Ryanair. Especially Allaho as a swan song.
The real whacker too, Pete, as well. Like, I don't know about you. I don't see him staying the 3 mile 2 in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, we discussed this, didn't we, at the start?
Yeah, we did. So he could be another as well. Similar sort of tactics. It's such a fascinating race this year. I know there's only 6 runners, but it really is going to be a tactical sort of affair, isn't it? But you're going down on Brave Man's Game. That's your final answer, is it then, Pete? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Brave Man. He did be good last year.
Cool.
Safe
all right then.
Again, Pete. Pete, you're going safe.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't. I cannot have a borrow from lads. I honest to God, and I think you could be in for a shocker. And again, I'm saying, Bryony gets the slip and goes off with Frodon. How disappointed are people going to be if Brave Man Game ends up behind? And don't get me wrong, Frodon was a brilliant horse in his day, but she gets the slip. He's got 3 blots on his copybook. You've got last season now, and yes, it was a tough season. I keep making, the excuse with Galloping Deschamps when Faster Slow won, because Faster Slow just keeps getting better. But the other 2 runs, I went, that is not the Brave Man's Game that I know. So I think he's being
Dawn,
very
they're still they're still 170 rated performances. They're not like, oh, he's completely blotting his copybook. He just isn't fit. He got beat by Royal Pagao, who absolutely loves Haydock. You look back through the numbers and you probably need around probably anything from about a 168 to 175 to win this. He won it last year off with a 177. If he is, say, £6 better for being round here, and he runs to what he's already ran, he ran to, and that blot in the Irish Gold Cup at Punchestown, that was still a 173. That was £2 below one of his career bests. So I can see what you're saying, but at the same time, I think he's still running well. It's just he didn't finish his race.
I got to be honest. I'm fully with Dawn. I struggle to back him on the basis of what we've seen in those 2 runs in November. He just looked different to me last season. This is again where looking at the horses individually maybe makes difference. He just looked like a horse that was thriving, coming into his own, a real big, proper old school steeplechaser, really enjoying himself. But he just doesn't seem like he wants it this time. Dawn, you seem to be sort of echoing those there as well.
Completely. I
Banging
think he's
the drum.
kind of
just like, help me out.
Yeah, oh yeah. He's got my back here. But I just think he's maybe we use a little bit sour gone. He got like with Gentleman's Game, I'm waiting for something exceptional here. I'm waiting for something exceptional, and it just didn't happen.
Yes.
And then I was at Punchestown when I was watching again with Royal Pagao. He should have, Royal Pagao. Again, he's a kind of a horse that is a Haydock specialist, fair enough.
But he didn't finish his race, did he?
The want has gone out of the horse.
He didn't finish his race.
The want has gone out of it. No, he didn't. And I just think I'm looking at him even at Punchestown, and that was last season. We're still talking about the Hardy season there, and I don't like going too much into the past, but I always do. I had never seen him in the flesh before, and a friend of mine said to me, "Oh, wait until you see, you're going to be blown. You're going to be this. You're going to be that." A fine horse, don't get me wrong, but I think the air had gone out of the balloon, and I think the air has still gone out of the balloon there. And I just hope, because we've seen horses in the past that have had their heart broken a couple of times. It's even with poor old Paisley today going down on his sword again. You kind of wonder how many times a horse's heart can be broken like that too. I've seen it happening with a few horses, and I just think the air has gone out of the balloon with Brave Man's Game. Will he place? Probably. Will he have us screaming at the top of our lungs? No. I understand why the lads are going with the safe bet, but I don't like safety. And I can't have a bar of it. Sorry.
I don't think he's safe, though. I think he's either going to win or he's just not going to be there. Because if he's not staying on at the end, I think the rest are going to go past.
I like how... Go on.
How will you feel, Pete, if the air has gone out of the balloon? How will you feel Boxing Day?
Dawn, I've backed Allaho 11-2, so if it's him who goes past, I could
you've got an insurance policy. You have an insurance policy. Yeah, always have an insurance policy.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care as long as I have the winner.
Yeah, that is exactly it. I said no sentiment.
No loyalty.
I didn't know these horses had hearts.
There's no loyalty with Pete. He's just after the money, and he does all right at making it.
Just after the money, honey.
That's it, yeah.
At least he's honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he's going safe, but he's called risk for reward. So, or should it be safe for rewards? You never know, do you? Anyway, Scotty, what about you? Sorry to leave you in the quiet up there.
That's all right, mate. No worries. Just having a drink. Sound.
Good on you.
Yeah, looking at this race, it reminds me of speed dating, but with a lot of my ex-girlfriends that have broken my heart in the past. God Almighty! My heart at one point. Shishkin broke my heart when I backed Abacadabras in the Super.
You're after ruining my whole night now, bringing up Abracadabras. When I was on an anti-post ticket, it's 33 to 1 to win the
Right, yeah, and obviously the real whacker broke my heart last year when I was on Jerry at 1,000,000 to 1, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, fuck it. I'm not playing safe. Let's go for it.
Go on, Scotty.
I napped Allaho about 3 days ago. I think it's a year too late for him.
A year too late.
I think it's a year too late. I think this time last year he would have been certainty to win this time last year if he was fit. Brave Man's Game, yeah, whatever. If he wins, he wins. I just can't have him after the last 2 runs. I think there's not as much left in under the bonnet as there has been the past 2 seasons. I don't think Haydock, Paul Nicholls didn't want to run at Haydock, did he? And if I was Harry Cobden, I would have gone like that, and I would have rode and throwed on and said, give someone else to ride. That's just my mentality. I would have done that. But you know what? If they all jump the last 3 in a line, Allaho, Brave Man's Game, Shishkin, there's only one horse I'd want to be on, and that's Shishkin. That's 100%. He's got the biggest heart. He's the biggest trier. And he's got the balls. He broke my heart again when I was all over in Ergumen that day at Ascot. And I would never, ever go against him with 100 yards, half a furlong to go. He would be the horse I'd be all over. But that's just a question mark. And I don't give a shit. I'm going in at 7-2. And I'm going to back him to be in the first 2 as a place bet. And I think the only one that could potentially outrun his odds is Hewick. I definitely got respect for that horse, especially going right-handed on a bit of better ground, which I think we're going to get. And I probably did a forecast. I might do Shishkin to beat Hewick.
There you go, a little bonus bet then as well, Scotty.
I agree with Scotty there, Joe, is that Shishkin's going to be a huge runner in running. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully he is. And I'll be playing and running with him, but obviously, like as Pete said there, he could be out with Washington, and as I said, 4 or 5 fences in, he might not be travelling. But as I said, if he's there, he's going to be huge in running play.
You're going to get all the usual things. Brave Man's Game is
back in the stable. Yeah.
Track. Everyone's going to say Brave Man's Game Kempton, but Shishkin's track is Kempton. He's the best around Kempton, and I would take that in a match bet all day long if they were both 100% and they jumped off together.
And
he's better.
And he's
a bit like me, Shishkin. He's a bit of a lazy bastard, and he only does enough when someone points a gun to his head. That's just me. I'm the same nature kind of thing.
He loves it that much. He'll be in the beer tent before the race even finishes.
He'll be
running.
Come on,
mate. That's where
he'll be running the inside track in the
cheek pieces.
I love it. I love how you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, though, Scotty. I love that.
That will be Shishkin. He needs one of these. He needs a red hood to go to the start, turn up, and go.
Earplug, gag, like me.
Yeah. You just need to hold your finger on place bet, don't you? 2-3 out and just see where he is at that point and see if you want to sort of get stuck in.
Just a quick one. When you say that, when I was sitting in Heathrow Airport in March, I came back from a bowls tournament and I just made the Ryanair in running. I laid him for 2 places when he made that bad mistake and he came second. So I will never do that again.
All right, just stick to the singles then, Scotty. Well, I'm not sure how to weigh this one up, to be honest. I fancy Shishkin. I fancy Allaho. I think Hewick's going to run a big race. I've backed Shishkin. I'm not going to get stuck in anywhere else. I'm just going to stick with that because I don't want to start losing my pennies on a race where I'm not totally sure. I just really want us to see a strong renewal of this. I want Allaho to go off and win. I want Shishkin to run a big race. I want Brave Man's Game to come back to form. But I'm going to sort of sit out this one a little bit. I've had a bit of a punt on Shishkin at 8, as Jamie got me onto him a few weeks ago. That's just going to do for me, to be honest. I'm going to enjoy this with the Bucks Fizz or something like that. I don't know. Or hot chocolate, probably, for me.
Vodka and Coke.
Yeah, exactly. Vodka and Coke. That'll do. Right then. Okay, let's move on to Leopardstown. The 220, we've got the Racing Post Novices Chase. Of course, we've got Facile Vega here, the Supreme Novice Hurdle runner-up. Of course, he got demolished by Marine Nationale, the Supreme Novices Hurdle, but he's 1-3 to win on his second start over fences. We've got Founder 50 at 6s, My Mate Mozzie and Sharjah both at around 16 to 1. Should be pretty straightforward for him, shouldn't it, Pete?
Who are we talking about? Sorry, Facile Vega.
Facile Vega, sorry, yeah.
yeah. I was reading a completely different race.
I was
like, yeah, I skipped straight to the 27th. Yeah, Facile
Vega. I was the same, actually, Pete. I was actually waiting for him to say down memory lane.
About Brave Man's Game.
Because when he goes, yeah, straight forward for the favourite, and I looked at it, I was like, no, mate, not straight forward. And then I was like, oh, we're on a different race. Facile Vega, yeah, I think I'd be disappointed if it's not a point and shoot job. I found a 50 at the start of the season. He was a huge price for like the Turners and stuff like that. And I just thought maybe he'd do the same. He'll start really well and he'll peter off as he went on and met the better horses. But I wasn't impressed with that race last time out. That Found a 50 was beaten. I'd be disappointed if Facile Vega's not just winning this onto better things.
Okay, cool. Does he win the Arkle, Pete? Or can you not really give that away?
Marine Nationale wins the Arkle.
Good man.
No danger.
Good man. Scotty, Facile Vega, is it a schooling job for him to beat Founder 50 and the others?
Yeah, I'd say it's a schooling job, but the only thing that'd slightly be a negative for me is the ground. I think it's yielding. Is that good ground? In Irish terms?
No, it's deep. It's like good to soft, isn't it? Yielding, good to soft.
Good to yielding.
Come on, Dawn.
That's a
Get
positive.
2 inches in, no more.
Yeah.
A bit of juice in the ground.
A bit of juice in the
And it's no
ground.
harm with a bit of juice. We like a little bit of juice.
Half a juice, Dawn.
Half a bit of juice in the ground.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Yeah, mate, he's going to win. And yeah, Sharjah and Founder 50, they both got found out in that race that was won the other day by Iron Maximus, the Drinmore. My mate Mozzie, probably a handicap down the route. Yeah, Facile Vega wins, and he wins the Arkle in March.
Cool.
Oh,
hang on a minute. What did you just say at the end?
What?
You had to move on for a second. How dare you, Scotty? How dare you?
I'll tell you what.
On,
just on Scotty's point, that is going to be interesting to see how he handles the better ground. Because obviously he didn't go well on it last year. I know they put that down as a complete flop anyway, but it'd be interesting if he handles the ground just with a view to obviously the DRF and March, because obviously he wants another string to his bow. Where Willie can just say that was just a write-off day or whatever. Because if he flops on Boxing Day, that's a big red flag.
All jokes aside, Pete, I put something up in the last video which I spotted, which I don't know nothing about the anatomy of a horse or the running styles, but he had such a high knee action, I thought, which maybe says he'd be better for deeper ground. That's the only concern I'd have.
He's just like I Am Maximus, you know the horse, I Am Maximus as well. He's got this real wide leg action, but again, he's starting to come to his own now. He won last time out, didn't he, as well? I guess so. Yeah, Jamie.
I think Dawn will agree with me here that I'm very worried about the ground because the outside track and the chase track in Leopardstown is the quickest part of the track. There's no rain forecast. He flopped last year and I was there at the DRF. And I'd have been all over in the pocket here to beat him. All over in the pocket. Especially when they supplemented it for the race. That's a bit unlucky.
Is that because of ground? Is that because of ground?
No, he's just injured. I'm just worried about the ground for Facile Vega.
No, I meant
my problem
I meant, would you be within the pocket over Facile because of the ground?
Oh, yeah.
All
day long. I'm very worried about his knee action. He got found out last year at the DRF. They're saying it was a flop. He just didn't go on the ground. He went too fast. He could do that now today. On Stephen's Day. Found a 50. My worry about found a 50. He was beaten by Corbett's Cross at Naas over 2 miles. And I don't think he's a 2 miler, but is he in between trips? I think he found, I was very disappointed. No, he did make a mistake in the last in the Drimmer. I thought he was going to win.
Be nice about Corbett's Cross. We've got Dawn on.
Corbett's Cross. My mate Mozzie will travel like the best horse in the race, but he won't get up that incline in Leopardstown in the month of Sundays. A friend of mine texted me during the week and he said to me, Jamie, will you please stop tipping Sharjah? But
you going in?
I'm
go
going
in,
ground.
baby, go in.
I'm going to back Sharjah again one more time.
Because one fun. Jesus.
He likes does he like Leopardstown? It's like Willie Mullins going to say
he loves Leopardstown.
Yeah, Facile Vega loves Leopardstown, but flopped at Leopardstown. Do you know what I mean? That
right. Loves Leopardstown.
Yeah, they're right up at Sharjah. It's one Madison, 4 or 5 Madison hurdles, is it? Around Leopardstown. Yeah. I know it's the inside track, different track.
Steep.
Yeah, but he'd love this ground. He did not go a yard in that ground at Fairy House. It was bottomless. The lads told me, text me, they were above there. It was worse than the year before. So the better the ground, the better chance I'm back in Sharjah. Last time.
Wow.
I'm going against him. One last time, because to be honest with you, if he's there with Facile Vega, he's a lot quicker horse than Facile Vega.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm in the boat where I think Facile Vega's a 2.5 miler.
I'm just really worried about the ground. If they said, the heavens were going up and it was heavy ground, he'd win by half the track.
I mean, look. So here's the thing.
No, he could still win by half the track. Do you know what I mean?
He could, of
course.
Really,
I would like. Fair enough. I'm not cribbing Johnny Dinny. Like Johnny Dinny might go in at 1 to 3. I wouldn't touch him at 1 to 3. Even if I had 300 grand in my pocket, I wouldn't put 300 grand in him to win 100. To win 100, not a hope. So I'm just going to go one more go in Sharjah.
Love that, James. Because as well, like he is the overpriced horse in the race, isn't he?
I think he should be second favourite.
Agreed.
Just forgive him for the run, and he was impressive on better ground all through the summer. So
yeah.
So I think he should be second favourite. He's better than Found a 50, and my mate was on his
100%.
Keep on saying, Jay. There's there's different sides to betting angles which I really studied into. And match bets, my mate Mozzie would be favourite in a match bet over Sharjah. That's an absolute that's a lump job on
That
Sharjah.
could be massive.
We'll actually have a look at that, Scott. Remind me there. We'll have a
Probably
look at
get.
it.
I remember one year, I've said it before, Zanahiyr in the Champion Hurdle in the Daggio, they offered 11 to 10 on Zanahiyr in a match bet. It was just
remember.
like, and punters are lumping on Honeycycle at 8 to 11. It's just like, it's a no-brainer. It's
against the David Pipe yoke as well, like, you know, it's just crazy. Like, yoke, like, you know. Dawn, what have you got for us? Does Faisal just win this, or?
Right. Okay. Look, I am with Jamie 100% about the ground. The ground is a massive worry. Now, the one thing I will say about Leopardstown is they do water. They do water,
they do.
Okay.
and they are probably the best at doing it. That is why it's one of the best tracks we have. That is why we learn so much.
Okay.
But Navan, I didn't like, and I am not one, and I'm sick of it at this stage. I say there's more crabs than a stag do in Ibiza at this stage on Twitter with horses. And like Navan,
Crabs
he
and
turned
lads.
up. It's disgusting.
Brilliant. I
How
just
it's
remembered.
like-
I
Why
just
do you
remembered
come
that.
up with
Oh,
these,
God,
Dawn?
that's absolutely brilliant. Oh, I like that.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man.
That is excellent. That's the best I've ever heard.
And the rest of them kick off, and it is more crabs than a stag do, and I beat it. And like, you're going, lads, it was his debut. What do you want him to do? It doesn't matter if this horse cured COVID. It was the same with Quevega and Willie. If you've seen Willie when he lifts his hat, the picture of Quevega is in his trilby. So he thinks a lot. Now, in all fairness, Patrick has got off the love of his life, Saja, and he is on Da Vega. And you've got Dan the man. And I mean, if you want somebody on a horse, and I was having a discussion during the week as well, he rode 2 brilliant winners at Navan on Sunday when everybody was kind of, you know, finished their Christmas shopping and wanted a quick and easy, decent bet. Danny was your man to follow. And Danny on Saja on that ground, and Saja eats up Leopardstown with a spoon. He treated Zanahiyr, and Zanahiyr is no scrub and brush either. He treated Zanahiyr to his backside many a time as well. My mate Mozzie, I'm taking on board what they're saying with him. He won't win it. He will not win it. And then the whole thing is as well, if people start hyping as well, he's very dual purpose. What he did at Cheltenham, I don't know how he did it at Cheltenham, but fair play to him. Found a 50. Okay, the Corbett's Cross thing, of course, and Corbett's Cross wins the Neville's, by the way, later on in the week.
100%.
But the Drinmore, would he have won it? I thought he was coming to win it. And will we be talking about him in a different way? Possibly we would. But I think the first 2 horses, if the real Facile Vega doesn't turn up, and if we see the Facile Vega that was at DRF, and I mean, that was diabolical, lads. I mean, there was a deathly silence. And word went out, he must have bled or something. No, the horse didn't bleed. And Willie was not happy whatsoever, and understandably so, because you were going, this was nearly to the point where they're saying this was a messiah. But like, I look back and I see Dan Roy won it last year, Clarkhams won it, Footpad, Duvan, Moscow Flyer even. So I would hope the real Facile Vega turns up, but I take on board what Jamie said. I take on board, watch that ground, because that will find a chink in the horse's armour. And if Saja is waiting and Danny is ready, you know, to take up the slack for Uncle Willie, he will slide by. And Saja, like, I heard people during, I don't listen to a lot of other podcasts apart from yours, Joe. I heard somebody say that, like, I wouldn't touch Saja any day of the week. What? It's all going off heart and sentimentality and everything else. Fairyhouse was grim. That was not his ground whatsoever. He looked fantastic, but it was not his ground whatsoever. So I think if the real Vega doesn't turn up, Saja at 16 to 1 is a whopper. Watch Found a 50. Enjoy him, but I wouldn't be backing him against the Vega. I take Saja for the value, but Vega for the win still. I have massive hope, and I will be so disappointed should he not win it.
Yeah, I mean, even me, Dawn, I mean, everyone knows I'm a over the top sort of Marine Nationale fan, to be fair, but I would be disappointed if Facile Vega didn't come out and put on a performance here. I fully agree with everything that we've discussed about the ground and everything, but I do honestly believe that he's too good to get beat here this weekend. I think he's going to be primed for this one as well. I really, really do. I do like Sharjah. I think the bet may be to try and find yourself some sort of forecast with the Mullins too, based on pretty much what all of us have said here, especially on prices. But I really do want to see Facile Vega. I mean, look, come March, I want there to be a proper race. I really want Marine Nationale and Facile Vega to go out and lock horns and then see who's the fastest coming up the hill, which we know we've seen the turn of foot Marine Nationale, and that's where I think he obviously is devastatingly good in comparison. My issue with Facile Vega is that I'm convinced he's a 2.5 miler, and I think everything about his breeding, his running style. The reason we're probably even questioning the ground is because he probably do a little bit better, potentially going up in trip. But the problem is, Willie wants Facile Vega to be his 2-mile horse. He wants him to win the Arkle. He wants him to win the Champion Chase. But I just don't actually think he is quite that horse that is a winner of an Arkle already. He hasn't shown us a turn of foot. When he went off too fast with high definition, he just showed he couldn't handle a fast pace as well. So if he goes off too quick again this weekend, that would be a little bit of a worry for me. But I would love to see him put in a big performance. But I've just got a lot of questions around Facile Vega, and not even just in this race. It's just a few quirks. He hasn't set anything alight so far. The times are never necessarily too good either. He's going to be hard to beat here. But yeah, I'd like to see him win. But I've definitely got some question marks with him going forward. He's another walk in the park as well. So again, the 2.5 mile just seems to me like an obvious step. But let's face it, he's going to go down the route of the Arkle. Okay, so let's move on to the future novices then. We've got a really nice lineup here. I've actually just lost the card, but I know we've got Down Memory Lane, Daddy Longlegs. I don't think Firefox is turning up now, guys, is he?
No, it's 20 to 1 the rest.
And 20 to 1 the rest. There we go. Then Pete, go on then, kick us off, because I'm a little bit behind here.
Well, I think it's going to be hard for either of the first two for it not to come, the winner not to come from the first two. You look through, I thought Down Memory Lane, well, I don't know whether I thought or whether I hoped. I kind of hoped that Gordon Elliott was going to have Down Memory Lane as maybe his Ballymore. He likes to run his best at his Ballymore. I spoke to someone and they asked Davy Russell before this season started, and they were like, "Oh, have you heard of this horse? Like, what's your thoughts on that?" And he was like, "Never heard of him." And I was like, well, that's a negative straight away.
Yeah, it is.
But then obviously come out on hurdling debut, very impressive. Beat, there's no real in between it. They were trees that he beat. And I didn't really have much to knock him with. But then Daddy Longlegs just come from complete left field. Like, I looked at the bet in 10 minutes before, sat there at 2 to 1, and you hadn't really heard much about him. And then he ran and he came out on his seasonal debut, and he was just so impressive. I know you look through the form and you look, he's beaten Irish Panther, who's a fair yardstick, but everyone's getting to the point now where they're like, everyone beats Irish Panther. He just keeps coming second. Everyone's expecting him to do something, and he doesn't really get any. But at the same time, to do it on debut against horses that had already come out and they'd already had their hurdle starts. And I just think the money's really come for him in the last few days for the Supreme. I think he's now into single figures for pretty much all. But I know that probably doesn't say a lot in today's bookmaking world, but someone's backing him. When obviously they've also backed Mirzor West from the same yard all the way into 8 to 1 as well. His RPR is bigger than Down Memory Lane, but again, it doesn't say a lot on debut. I just think of the two, I like both, and I have backed them both for various races. But Daddy Longlegs, I think, looked more of a Supreme horse, and he just impressed me on debut when I didn't really expect it. And then obviously all the comments come out afterwards. They're like, yeah, he's been working well at home, blah, blah, blah. And the money came, but you didn't know that until they ran. So, yeah, I'm pretty strongly on Daddy Longlegs, especially as he's the bigger price as well. He's like 9 to 4 best price now.
3 to 1, I think he's just gone 2 on Willie Hill, so even bigger, yeah. But again, adds to your spice of the point, doesn't it, that you've made there, really. Daddy Longlegs for Pete. Scotty.
Yeah, I think I'm going to side with Pete here as well with Daddy Longlegs. I thought he was quite good, actually. I wasn't as blown away as everybody else was, but I watched it back a couple of times and I thought, yeah, he's got serious potential. Strong traveller. And yeah, again, it's a massive step up in grade for him here. I think Down Memory Lane's a very good horse. He's a bit of a tank of a horse, and I think I like to see novices make mistakes, and he didn't jump brilliant on his debut, but I think going up in trip potentially would be the way to go with this horse. I think if he's going to lose, I think Daddy Longlegs is going to be the one to beat him. Again, it's like the running over 2 miles here, and JP's got 4 horses who potentially could run in the Supreme. They're not all going to turn up. You've got obviously Jericho de Ruppene, Mystical Power, Mirazar West. So I think this could be a bit of trial and error for down memory lane here, but I'd fancy Daddy Longlegs to beat him. One of Jamie's old horses, who owes me a big race after I backed him, absolutely nailed him to beat Cool Survivor, going way back in a bumper, is the Big Doyen, who I think would be interesting to see how conservative he's ridden in this race.
Oh, okay.
Be quiet, Scotty, will you?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, no, the only other one in the race who I'd be keen to keep an eye on is Predator's Gold, in a trip that I think is going to be a bit on the short side. I definitely think he's potential for a Ballymore or maybe even a Bartlett kind of campaign. So they'd be the kind of angles I'll be looking at in the race. But it sounds really silly. I'm a bit of a each way multiple kind of guy nowadays. I like doing a bit more smaller and trying to accumulate a few guaranteed places. And I think Daddy Longlegs at 3-1. You're going to lose money if he doesn't win, but if he places, then you've got a good run for your money. So yeah, Daddy Longlegs, I'll probably have a win bet and chuck him in a few each way multiples. I think that's the way I'd be doing it.
All right, two for Daddy Long. Jane, who'd you fancy in the race?
Very interesting race, Joe. For going forward, I think there's a lot of horses in here with potential to be huge players for the Cheltenham Festival and handicaps. Down memory lane, I suppose the RPR wasn't great, but look, Derek O'Connor was just riding like, as Pete says, he was riding against trees. Actually, the best RPR record was Colin Potter the last day. He now he recorded 141, so he's taking the best horse in the race. Is he 9-1? It's huge. I was actually just disappointed It's For Me wasn't coming here, because I'd have probably backed It's For Me in this after beating Caldwell Potter. I agree, echo what Scotty said. I'm very strange. I thought Predators would go to the Lauders. It's very interesting here that he's gone over 2 miles, and I echo what Scotty's saying, that Willie Mullins doesn't mind running these Bartlett horses over 2 miles to see how much speed he has towards the end. Daddy Longlegs, yeah, I look back to it. I was told he was very well touted last year for the Triumph, and then they just kept him fresh for this year. Will I back him? I don't know. Going down the list, obviously, it's the Caldwell Potter. Absurd is definitely a horse to watch. Like, obviously, we got bombed out with Galway in the summer at 4-6, which wasn't great, but like, obviously just having a trot around after his excursions down in Flemington in Australia. So he's definitely a horse to look at, and a line for a county or a Carroll Cup. Same with the Big Diane after he ran there in the race against Le Missile and Captain Teague. He's definitely a horse for a handicap, and he definitely wants faster pace. But I will probably side in original. I'll probably go down memory lane because he looks like the horse with the most potential, but obviously very worried about Daddy Longlegs. But strong opinion, not really. I don't think I'll have a bet. But it's a race that I'm going to be watching with intrigue, because there's definitely going to be a lot of winners out of this.
Love that, James. Love that. Dawn, anything to add on the future novices?
Yeah, I mean, it's called Future Champions for a reason. At one stage, I was all over Firefox. I actually tipped Firefox, but I know he's got an entry for Lawler's Day as well, you know, the grade one. But I think Croke Park wins that. Caldwell Potter, I can make so much cases for him. Full brother to the late, great, mighty Potter. He's half brother to French Dynamite, Indiana Jones. I talk about Matinee, the mum. She's got the golden womb. Anything that comes out of her, watch. He was brilliant on heavy at Navan. He was so good. That second when he came back at Punchestown to It's For Me, a very, very good second. That's what I went, here, take him seriously, lads. Who's third to Stellar Story. We've seen Stellar Story do good things, and also finish behind Slade Steele, who I think an awful lot of, who I think is my Ballymore horse. And Ile Tomps, Tony Bloom's horse, Ile Lantique, sorry, my bloody French, Ile Lantique, who Paul waxes lyrical about. He's another horse you really, really think a lot of. That bumper at Naas when I first met Caldwell Potter, Brianna Lilly was in that too. She's been winning left, right and centre all over the summer, and recently, I think 6 weeks ago again. So the form is really being franked. I think he's massive at like 9-1. The one thing is, at the moment, over the last 3 weeks, as much as Gordon had been getting the slip on Willie is clawing back. Gordon's at 18% the last 3 weeks, whereas Willie's at 35s. I see where people are going with Daddy Longlegs. I really do, but I don't know enough about him. I can't ignore the 13 lengths. I mean, the 13 lengths were absolutely fabulous with a cherry and cream on top. And is he a future champion? Probably. Bear with me now with this, okay? Now, down memory lane, I can't have a bar off. I can't, lads. I just think he hasn't beaten anything. And people have said to me, "You're absolutely crackers, Dawn, saying that," but I just don't. Absurd. Yes, you can make a case for him at 14s because he'll like the ground. Smooth Tom, okay? Now, am I saying he's a future champion? No, but I'm saying he's very good. At Nace, people ignored him. He bet 9th lock. Now, here's a tip. If anybody wants racing on Christmas Day, 9th lock has now gone to France. He's gone from Willys to France, and he's running Christmas Day in Pau. He's already had a win with Felix de Giles in France. He goes on and wins again. So watch how he runs at Pau. Then have a look at Smooth Tom again. Keith Donoghue is up. And when Keith is up and he's got them in gear, he is a true horseman. He's not just a jockey, he's a true horseman. He was 7th on the flat, Smooth Tom. He is a very, very good horse. 7th on the flat to Brazil, that was my point. But that day at Nace, he loved the ground. And Andrew Slattery, he's not really taken seriously because he is a smaller trainer and people won't take no. But I think he's massive value. They were going to put him away after Nace, but they've decided to come here. And I would take note in that they've decided to come here. So Daddy Longlegs, he's just a little bit too tight. I don't know enough about him. Caldwell Potter, I know enough and I like enough about him, so he will be mine for the win. But Smooth Tom, like I say, each way play pays. And watch 9th lock Christmas Day at Pau.
9 lock, Pau, just left Willys, did you say? Is that right, Dawn?
No, he left Willys after, it seemed to be after Nace when he was 2nd to Smooth Tom. He's already won in France, and then he runs Christmas Day again. So they're lucky they get racing Christmas Day.
Well, that's all right. We'll have to jump in during Christmas dinner. We'll just have to pop out for a couple of minutes, won't we?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, Smooth Tom is like 50 to 1 or something massive, Dawn. 40 to 1 you can get on there. So that's an absolute steal for anyone who's tuning in to us, obviously, to watch the previews here. Love that, Dawn. Love that. Well, I'm actually going to echo what Dawn said a little bit here. I really like Caldwell Potter, I beg your pardon. And similarly, like Dawn said, he's a full brother to Mighty Potter. And again, just like Dawn said, I love the dam as well, Matney. She also had Brighter Days Ahead. Can't even think of any more. French Dynamite is another, obviously Mighty Potter as well. This Caldwell Potter is a horse that this season, to me, just looks like he's improved a ton. I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles a little bit in this race. However, I could also see him going to Punchestown at the end of the season and doing a little bit of a Mighty Potter and running a massive race and potentially winning one of the races there. I do think Down Memory Lane's a decent horse, but similar to Dawn, what he beat that day was nothing. I know he looked very visually impressive just coming along the side of these horses and looked all good in that, but I'm not totally sure that the form stacks up. So I'm just going to take a bit of a punt on Caldwell Potter each way at the 9 to 1. And I also think Daddy Longlegs as a 4-year-old is a little bit too raw. He reminds me of a horse called Bring on the Night, who obviously ran in the Supreme. He sort of looks like he's one of these sort of dual purpose horses to me. Can't have Daddy Longlegs, can't have Down Memory Lane. So I'm going to take a chance on Caldwell Potter with Dawn as well. All right, okay, so let's sharply move on. We're going to take a look at the Welsh National again. Try not to spend too long. Sorry for taking up everyone's time, but we obviously want to try and find you some winners. Let's go to Pete. Who do you fancy in the Welsh National, buddy?
So back one so far, and that's a complete unknown. It's not one that would stand out when I first looked through and thought, yeah, he's definitely a Welsh National horse. It was more the fact that every time I watched him, it just looked like he wanted further. He just found more off the bridle. He clearly wants soft ground. I thought, well, he was well fancied for the Coral Gold Cup, which I thought was mainly down to obviously how well handicapped he was. He was sent off favourite for there, but he just looked like he struggled with the speed of the race and also with the faster ground. I think the step up in trip's going to suit. And it's just, I went through this card pretty heavily last night, and it's more how much you can get into a rhythm early on. It's not really about how much weight you carry or how good the horse is and stuff. It's the horses that get in a rhythm, and they, especially if you feature prominently, they seem to just do really well. So I've gone with Complete Unknown, and the other one that I'm going to go with is the same horse I backed last year. Who won it was I Will Do It. Comes up here off a very different prep this year. Last year went in having absolutely bolted up in the trial. Came here and was only off a mark of 140, so it comes off 153 this time round. But at the same time, he's got a £7 claimer on board, and he went on to follow it up as well. Again, last year he absolutely bolted up 9 lengths from Highland Hunter. And I think, if I remember rightly, in third was a horse, Trucker's Lodge, who won recently the Sandown Big Stayers race. He then went on and he won off 147. Beating Mr. Incredible. That was his career best RPR 160. I looked through these and I can't see many of these are going to be capable of those sort of numbers. The stats don't read great for horses that carry such large weights, like over 11 stone. Only been 2 horses that have carried over 11 stone, and they were both Group 1 winners. Elegant Escape and another one. I think it might have been 2. No, it was the
Native River.
Native River, yeah.
Native River, that's it, yeah. So 2 Group 1 horses. But at the same time, this is a very compressed handicap. And I looked through and nearly all of the better horses in the field, the majority of them are 11 stone up. So, yeah, I'm just going to stick with those 2 and hope one of them gets in a nice rhythm, or they both get in a nice rhythm. And they should both feature prominently. So, yeah, I Will Do It and Complete Unknown for me.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Pete. Jamie.
I didn't really look at it, James, but I'm going to just back one horse blind, and it's the horse we've finally got one to do in the trial, and it is Nasalam. I think Nasalam will win. I really do. I really fancy him. I think he'll win. He went up. We ran. I know there was Gale and Quinn £3 claim, so technically he was running off 138 the last day, but he's gone. But his official rating the last day was 141. He's technically gone up to 149, but he's in here off 145. And remember, everyone kind of fancied him for the Ultimate last year, and he was running off 144, so technically he's only £1 higher. So because he won the trial and he won it so easily that I'm just going to take a punt on him. Yeah, just probably back him blind and for a bit of crack and a bit of fun. I like the rest of back 20 winners, but I haven't gone into too much depth. But I suppose from what I've seen with my own eye, I just back out Naslam again. Yeah.
Sometimes visuals are enough, to be fair, Jamie,
Yep.
aren't they? Like, it'll break my heart if he wins that. I put him up for the Paddy Power and he didn't even go, did he? It'll break my heart this time. But Scotty, who'd you fancy in the Welsh National?
Echo what Jamie said. I haven't got a massive strong fancy. If there was a graveyard of races in my history of betting, this is probably it. I don't think I would ever found the winner. I think I'd probably be long gone before I have a winner in this race, to be honest. I'm just looking through. I don't like Super Survivor. I think he came second the last day at Lingfield to Gipmaker, and I think the form's let down today. That horse didn't run too well at Ascot, and the race that Venetia's horse won. Sorry, Pete, but Complete Unknown, again, don't like the horse. Think he's a bit soft. I don't think he'll get the trip. And the same with Nasalam. I know Nasalam won the trial impressively, but I don't think he'll get the trip. It's almost another mile, isn't it? And yeah, another one that everybody seems to back and always talk about is the Big Breakaway. He's a big heartbreaker, that boy. He just seems to just not want to win. He's just an absolute monkey, isn't he? But just like Jamie said, I'm taking a swing, and just based on that, the horse was dropped £1 from finishing second to Nasalam at a trip that I didn't think suited and was only beaten 5.5 lengths, and that is the Rebecca Curtis trained Wayfinder. I'm going to stick that up at 25s. Was at Cheltenham a few runs ago, and I think came down at the third fence. Chambard, I think, finished second in that race. Rebecca Curtis, she's obviously good at training stayers. She's Phelan's boy who won an RSA. Obviously, Liz Oscar over hurdles won a stayers, and she had the great Tea for Free, one of my old favourites who won the 4 miler back in the day, ran well in Grand Nationals. Yeah. It's literally just a swing, and that would be the one I take at 25s just for a small each way play. That's
what you want in a big national, Scotty. Some nice value. Dawn, what have you got for us?
God, we just reeled in the years there with Scotty. I was thinking back. I was still in nappies. Not the adult ones, lads. Don't go. Anyway, I'm going to echo what Jamie says, but I again veer to caution about the ground. I've heard that Nasalam needs soft, and they're saying that it's not going to be very soft. That'd be my one worry. The distance doesn't worry me because he was easing down under Keelan Quinn. He was easing down. And he was still, I'd say he would have gone round again. He was that good. You can't ignore he was 6th in a Paddy Power Gold Cup. The Galore has found a new zest to life again, thank God. and he was fourth in the Seston. And you go back to his old days and go reeling the years with Scotty, you've got Alexa de Nuts form in there too. So there's a lot to like about him. Keelan is taking off 3, but you need to start doing your rain dances now, lads, because otherwise I just worry about that. And then I look to my good mate Truckers Lodge, who gave me a very good Saturday 2 weeks ago. And Freddie Gingle is absolutely riding out of his skin. He's taken 3 off, and he's just a real old favourite. And I thought Beauport and that crazy mare were going to take him out of that Fontaine Collonge, who was in this race as well. So watch her. She is a complete takeout merchant. I'm sorry, Venetia, but she is. Yeah, he was great when he was beating Beauport. Brought down at Cheltenham at the November meeting that Melina Girl won at, and he was fourth in this last year. So there's a lot to like about Truckers Lodge. So should the rain, pray for the rain for Nassalam, but I'm going to have a little bit of my Christmas money on Truckers Lodge, head, heart, and all the rest on the Trucker.
He's one of these national horses, isn't he, as well? He just deserves to win one, doesn't he, Dawn, as well? Lovely horse. But mine are a little bit boring here, I must say. When James, you were over here at Cheltenham for the Paddy Power, we were speaking to a gentleman called Dr. Simon, who's got good connections, obviously, with the Fergal O'Brien team. He gave us Autonomous Cloud. Of course, we can mention it now because the prices evaporated. He's 7-1. He's got an obvious chance, but I also am aware that Super Survivor, the 5-1 favourite, is another that's got a really good chance. Both with low weights, both staying. 7-year-old, seriously still improving. But again, I'm going to get no brownie points for backing winners in these nationals anyway. So maybe I'll just skip it on that one. Okay, so we're going to move on to the 28th now. We've got 2 races left to go. We're going to look at the Jack de Bromhead Christmas Hurdle here. Obviously, a young lad we should never, ever forget. And I'm very glad that we've got a race in his name as well. And wouldn't it be fantastic as well if we could have a really nice winner of this race? And I am aware that Henry de Bromhead does actually run one in here. He decides to send Ballyadam into the race. But we've got Home by the Lee at 6-4, Irish Point at 7-4, Monkfish at 9-2, and any price you like for the rest. James, fire away.
Very interesting race, Joe. Obviously, it's a 2-hour race. I'm very surprised if anything beats either Home by the Lee or Irish Point. It was like when we were on there with Gavin Lynch last week there, and he said like Home by the Lee was actually a good run in the list money because he was given £9 to Bob Allinger. He won the race the previous year. As I said on the thing with Gavin Lynch, that I watched back the Stairs Hurdle a couple of times, and the amount of mistakes he made was definitely didn't do him the best favours, and he wasn't that far behind Sarah de Burley, so he's definitely a dark horse again for the Stairs Hurdle because he was well touted in the race and well fancied last year for. He won this race last year. He did. Irish Point for the potential, I suppose. To bring another horse into the Stairs Hurdle, I'd be hoping Irish Point would win. And for potential wise, I like potential horses. So my heart is saying Irish Point, and my head is saying Home by the Lee. But I will, I suppose, toss of a coin. Irish Point, I suppose, for the potential. And I like horses first time out. I kind of have that rule of thumb that first time try at 3 miles, I'll back them blind. And yeah, heart says Irish Point, head says Home by the Lee. It's your pick, really. It's anyone's pick. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully to see a good race, and hopefully then boat onto the Stairs Hurdle.
Definitely, they're the 2 that have got like the credentials for us this year, haven't they?
Yeah,
you know,
and we need it. We
do. Honestly, James, I'd love to see Irish Point win here because I think if he wins here, Gordo won't be able to resist sending him to Cheltenham. To be honest, he loves these Cheltenham winners, as we know.
Well, why don't the owners have 2 horses with great potential like to go for the race?
Exactly.
They're going to have to run,
and they could be fresh enough if they want to send one to Aintree or Punchestown after.
Oh yeah, well, Irish Point is like is exactly Dawn and Pete and everyone says like Constitution is coming to Punchestown.
Of course.
So I'm like, that's a penalty kick for Irish Point in the Aintree Hurdle. Like.
Yeah,
it's a penalty kick. True. It's an absolute penalty kick. Like if it opens a decent price in Aintree, I think I would really mortgage the house.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ! All right, okay, fair enough.
Wow.
Yeah, you said it all there, haven't we? You might have to come over to Cheltenham after that.
I'd have to move in permanently to Hotel Ginger Joe.
Yeah, you'll have to come over again.
I mean, that's kind of a native, won't I? Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Right. Let's go with Scotty.
Yeah, echoing what Jamie said, I think Home by the Lead the last day ran a blinder, considering he was giving away all that weight in the Liz Mullen, and good old Bobby O came back to life, didn't he? Fair play to him.
Great old Bob.
But yeah, I'm looking at the prices: 11-8 Irish Point and 6-4 Home by the Lee General at the moment. I think I'd definitely be back in Irish Point from a potential point of view. I think Home by the Lee is quite exposed now. I think he's getting to that point where we know his limitations. So I'd rather be taking the chance that Irish Point stays the trip, and I'd back him at 11-8. And I actually think the biggest danger to him could actually be another one of my favourite old nut jobs.
Oh no, it's steering for Longe.
Oh
Yes.
my God,
Oh
the
my
takeout
God.
market.
Yes.
I thought he was going to say belly at him there for a minute.
No,
That would have been even worse.
I'm not that silly. No, I think Asterion Forlonge gets all of his critics, but he's not a bad horse. He's definitely got the ability, and he could finish second. But I'm just going to keep it short. I think Irish Point's one I've had my eye on over 3 miles for some time, and I think he could turn out to be as good, if not Tiapu's biggest danger, if he wins.
I give it out to you, Scotty. I've backed Asterion Forlonge to win a King George.
I did as well, actually, mate. I did as well.
You just like these Donnelly horses, don't you? Like that's why I'm on Shishkin.
I couldn't believe he was beaten in that King George, and I left it.
He was running a mighty race, wasn't he? Like,
yeah.
Pete,
Yeah.
who have you got here?
I pretty much echo everything the lads have said. Like I looked at this, and it's a bit like the same with going with today. Obviously, with Paisley Park, I've just been backing horses like Crambo just because I don't know whether you get to the point where, despite them having to find so much, you just want them to win, so we get a better division.
Yeah.
You think it can't be possible. And whilst Home by the Lee's not the oldest of horses, he's fairly exposed at this trip. And like you go back to that Aintree run that Irish Point won when he absolutely bolted up from Katira. In third was Hermes Allen, and we know what he's done. Let's be clear about it. You wear it well. Springwell Bay, who's won since. Crambo was in seventh, beating nearly 20 lengths. And we saw what Crambo did today. So obviously these horses are improving. Authorized Speed, who fell this week. And then you've even got like a horse like Cool Survivor. Like that was a really strong Aintree. I know it was end of season, so you always question the form at that time of year. But you look at his form when he goes back to faster trips with Marine Nationale, Champ Kylie. Like he was a good, or he is a good horse at that as a young novice coming through. And I'm with everyone else. Like, and I do not like Tiapu. I've never been a fan of Tiapu, and I definitely. If this horse was going across for the festival, I'd definitely be in Irish Point's camp over Tiapu. So yeah, I'll be with Irish Point over Home by the Lee.
Love that. Nice one, Pete. Dawn, anything to add on the JDB?
Oh well. I'll do it really quickly. That's really unfair on Tiapu. He's a lovely.
I knew that was
fella.
coming. I just think he's too much hype and he's too short for the stayers. He had his chance last year. He had everything.
Oh,
no.
Lovely. And
He's still improving.
His groom Erica just adores him. And fun fact, guys, I'm full of fun and worthless facts. But the guy who trains Gold Tweet actually trained Tiapu before he went to Gordos. So there, fun fact. Right, okay.
Dawn, is Gold Tweet coming back? I'd say it's coming over to Cleveland this year. Hopefully they'll definitely put a different jockey on it.
They need to ride him a bit more prominent.
Yeah, and he won I just went through his form last day. He actually won a chase the last day, I'll tell you. Another forgotten horse.
Oh, completely forgotten. And look, again, like I said last year, we were left with, oh my God, how did this happen? You go back and look and we go, actually, you can see how did it happen. We need to start watching the Frenchie form.
Yes, we do.
We really do. But okay, we've no monkfish in here because he goes to Tremor for New Year's Day instead. Sit back and enjoy him. Asterion Forlonge, we love a bit of crazy. I can see where Scotty's go with this. We like a bit of crazy, but I'm not even that crazy. Irish Point, 1-1-1-1. You can't ignore him. Second to Champ Kylie, second in a Royal Bond. Ashrow Diamond was third that day. Champ Kylie was fourth. Mossy, Marine Nationale first. So that Royal Bond gave you so much. His win at Aintree with Davy saying goodbye, and he rallied the last day. I actually took him on stupidly with Magical Zoe. I shouldn't have, because I've had cuddles in the stable. That's how loyal I am with him. But I think this is tailor-made for him. I really do. Home by the Lead, JJ Slevin says, yeah, okay, he won it last year. He says he's a bit weird. He's a bit weird. We like a bit weird, but it has to go right for this weirdo. And sometimes for Lee, it doesn't. We've seen it in the stairs. last season. It didn't go quite right. Aintree, it really wasn't right. He came back, he fell on his sword to Bob Ollinger. Whereas the year before in the Lismundel, he had actually beaten Bob Ollinger, but it was great to see Bob back anyway. So I am all over Irish Point, and I would say take a second glance. Call me crazy, call me stupid, but he's at 8-1 at the moment. Buddy won. The guys, Paul Gilligan, I know, and we had this conversation that he might be a little outclassed and he might be only like a grower, not a shower at the moment. He might be one to just watch and see what he does in this race, because he was disappointing at Fairyhouse, but he was bloody fantastic at Cheltenham. I know he's up in a different class. Sorry now, I've cut that flu off, Scotty. But Irish Point all the way for me. Get to the point with Irish Point. Watch Buddy 1, see what he can do. It'll tell you a lot for the future. And Home by the Lee, I'd have no problem. There's your forecast, lads. Not much, but there's your forecast. Irish Point and Home by the Lee.
Love it.
And whatever else finishes behind, enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm going to echo everything now. I think Irish Point's an absolute good thing. He's one of my bets of the entire Christmas period. I think he's I just think he's a super horse. He likes to race. He's a trier. He's improved every single start, and he definitely is one that seems to get better as the season goes on. He's is he a 5-year-old still, Irish Point? He's 5, isn't he? And then yes, you got Irish Point as a 5
in January. Yeah.
Yep, cool. So you got 6. He's going to be 6 times by the time the stayers comes. Then obviously you got Tia Hooper a year older. I think Irish Point is an absolute good thing here. I do. Absolute steal of a punt. I can't really. I'm just echoing everything you guys have said. But a 13-8-7-4, massive punt. Home by the Lee's a nice horse, but even though he's a little bit older, he's just such a raw horse. You just feel like he's got so many question marks. But Irish Point, straightforward, serious improver, all of the good form in the book. Get on. Okay, so let's move to the finale then. We're going to look at one more race. We have the Savills Chase, the Grade 1, the 2:25 at Leopardstown. Galopin de Champs, fast or slow, versus Jerry Colombe. And then, of course, you've got some other protagonists as well. Pete, who wins the Savills? And does the winner of the Savills also go on to win the Gold Cup?
Yeah, Galopin de Champs wins both. Yeah, I know loads of people. I think basically this is his D-Day as opposed to the others. Whereas I could easily see, especially if obviously, as you say, if we do end up getting a fast ground, I could see a case where you could say that this is his, like as in say Galopin won and Jerry Colombe could reverse form at the festival. However, I think if you don't see a better Galopin de Champs this time, it's hard to see. I know obviously he won it last year. It's a very specific race. I think this is a lot bigger race for him than it is for the other two. Fast or Slow's got little to prove. I think he's already shown he's a Gold Cup horse. He's coming in top form. Jerry Colombe, for me, his form is solid, but it's not spectacular. I mean, people were absolutely howling about how good the form was when he beat Emboy Allen and conflated and Manila Indo. I mean, Emboy Allen is moderate nowadays, and the other two are both talking about going to the Fox Hunters. And he only scraped home as well from Emboy Allen. If he'd caught the last, if Emboy Allen, if they wing the, Rachel asked, he said no. If they'd wing the last, then I'm not convinced. Well, he may have got up, but it would have been a shorter distance. So either way, I could see a case where Jerry could reverse it. But I just think it's not even like the betting side of things. I just think this is a massive race for Galopin de Champs. But I'm also not convinced. Like a lot of people are saying so many different things about the way. I think they spent all of last season teaching him to remove all that exuberant jumping and teaching him to learn to settle.
Yeah.
And like it was scary. It was scary watching him in the DRF, how they were holding him back rather than just letting him go. And everyone was expecting him to just go out and bounce out. And he'd been a beautiful jumper. But they were obviously teaching him. And then even turning in, you were like, is he going to? And then once he hit the line, he just kept going. And I think they taught him to do that. And I think they were thinking going into the last race, they knew he wasn't going to be able to just suddenly go back to being like the 2 mile 4 exuberant horse. But the other differences as well is his jumping was atrocious on seasonal return. Like, I mean, even if he'd not made maybe one less mistake or 2 less mistakes, he was only beaten a length and 3/4. So, and I think he's a bit like Brave Man's game. Like he does not want to be losing this because then that's three times he's been beaten. And also, obviously, if it's fast or slow that takes the win. I mean, Jerry Colombe, I'm not really sure what the plan was because like they were going to go to Kempton, which everyone was like, why are you going there? Alaho shows up and he's like, I don't want that heat.
Yeah.
So he's then decided to come back home. And I'm still quite surprised that they're running on such fast ground. But again, as I said, that he's a young, improving horse and stuff. But Gallopin's only 7 years old. And I think nearly everyone's just said, oh, well, because he's been beaten since, that's his day's over. But again, I go back to the whole Ruby Walsh thing where he goes on about how you just remember the good times, not the times in between.
Yeah.
Willie Mullins isn't worrying about that Punchestown comeback one bit. It's more he's focusing on what's to come.
The big day. You don't see many of these staying chasers go through the whole season unbeaten before winning the Gold Cup. That just doesn't happen nowadays, does it? And I'm with UP. I think he's got a massive chance. The more Galopin Des Champs drifts, the more I'm going to invest in him for March. The beauty I think about Galopin Des Champs as well is he isn't even bred to be a staying chaser, but Woody's manufactured him into being an absolute beast. I'm like UP. I think come the day in March, he's going to be a weapon, and I think this is a very, very important day for him with the future of his season in mind for sure. Dawn, who owns the Savills?
Oh, Gallopin Des Champs all day, every way. And if he doesn't, but that will not happen, we do not talk about that. You'd question if there is something amiss. But I walked, after he won the Gold Cup, I walked Leckland Bridge with Mrs. Turley and all the family, and Paul and Willie and Mrs. Mullins, Maureen, the mum. Yep. And it was the most brilliant, through a storm. I had a smart car at the time. I was nearly getting blown off the motorway, and I did not care as long as I got to see Mr. Legs 11. He is the most, and Adam, his groom, the two of them together are a match made in heaven. And it's one of my best memories from 2023, just walking in this small village with a Gold Cup winner. And funnily enough, I went back to try and get some of my photos. And I looked on Twitter, and in 2022 at DRF, I had put up, here's your next year's Gold Cup winner. And I went, yes, there we go. Went to that John Durkin when he won in 2022. I said, there you go. There's your Gold Cup winner. People said, no, you're mad, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. Then the hype started to grow. And again, I'm going to say, yes, like what Pete's saying, he is only 7. He'll be 8 in January. He is only a baby. He is still learning. And if you look at the pictures, he elevates himself up off the ground. So maybe sometimes he does jump a little bit too high, but now he's maybe a little bit too relaxed. Willie did say on his debut, now remember, that John Durkin was earlier. It was 2 weeks earlier. And the ground was yuck. It really was. Yeah. Fast or Slow keeps improving. Appreciate it. I say about him, he's one of my wild cards for Cheltenham and a big, big price. He really is showing some spark again, whereas poor old Gallopin didn't show spark that day, but he wasn't disgraced. He wasn't disgraced. And back at Punchestown, when Brave Man's Game was second, he was third. I wouldn't even think about that because he was coming off a very hard Gold Cup. And how many horses have done what Sizing John have done? Not many.
Yeah,
so to me, it's him all day. And a sea of blue came in the betting last week. It was a sea of blue. And people were going, what's going on? What's going on? Is Willie actually running him? Yes, he is. And I think this is his D-Day. I completely agree. What I will say is take another look at Conflated as well, for value, because he won this last year. He came out of that race with Envoy Allen and Jerry Kalam, and I said, I know the cross country is his main aim, but I even said to a couple of people, I said, Conflated is the horse you take out of that race. I just don't trust Jerry. And with all this messing around about where's he going, is he going across to you, is he coming back, vice versa, it's too much head fuckery, and I'm not into that at all. In personal and professional life, I'm not into it, so I can't have a bar of him. So I'm having Gallopin Des Champs all day. I wish Fast or Slow and the Brazils best of luck, because he's a real fairy tale story and he just keeps improving. Lovely horse. Conflated, very decent value. He's a Yates. He will give you everything. He will leave everything on the floor for you. But Gallopin Des Champs, Mr. Legs 11, it's his Savills, and I'll be there. And if I can lead him in, I will.
Yeah, you are going to be there, aren't you, Dawn? God, that's going to be fantastic. Yeah. Going to take some beating. I reckon we'll see you cheering him on the telly if we watch close.
Oh, I'm wearing the colours and everything. The colours and everything.
I love it, Dawn. Love it. Jamie, who do you fancy in the Savills?
Yeah, basically exactly what Dawn said. When everything opened up for COVID, we went to see him on the Sunday when he won his novice chase, Leopardstown, and I never forget. We were actually just beyond the line, and we were down by the line, and my God, Paul Townend, the second fence you go across there at Leopardstown, he was still going, and Paul Townend had to
Reel
pull
him
him
in.
up, and we were like, reel him
Yeah.
in, and I was like, that's next year's Gold Cup winner, and we were there to DRF just before the line. When he jumped the last, and GC ran up that straight like an absolute very good horse, and obviously won the Gold Cup. The only horse I'm worried about, really, see, I think the only reason Jerry Clam's come back to Ireland because there's a lot of rain forecast on on Tuesday. There's 20 millimeters of rain. Now it's saying 14, but there's like 7 or 8 due on the 28 at the moment. Now that could obviously change, but I think that's why they've come back, because they're expecting a bit of a deluge to get into the ground, and I think they said Kempton on quick ground, it's not going to be his bag. They don't want to ruin him. Does he have a chance in the Gold Cup? I think he does, because I still think, all depending on Allaho, that Envoy Allen is still overpriced for a Ryanair.
Yeah,
And he
big
did
time.
win the race last year, and then people are forgetting about it. I thought, exactly what Pete said, I thought if it got a better jump, I think at the last at downright, he would have won. And you wouldn't be talking about Jerry Clam now, but Jerry Clam won the race. Yeah, Fastest though, I'm very worried about him because he's beaten him twice. But obviously, like, he was muck really over the first couple of fences, but obviously beaten only 2 lengths, and people are crabbing him. To me, at the end of the day, he is, on his day, he is the best. He is the
Over an
best, and yeah, over an adequate trip. But look, he should have won a Turner. Shouldn't he have this at that trip? So I wouldn't worry about the trip. And there was touting one time he might come back to 2 miles. So yeah, he's still my idea to Gold Cup winner, Joe, till I see. But as echoing what you're all saying, is that basically this is D-Day, like, and if he doesn't, if Fast or Slow beats him again, you're looking at Fast or Slow for a Gold Cup, which would have been in another parish last year when he ran in an ultimate and was beaten by Cora Grambler. But yeah, until I want him to win, I've backed him in loading multiples for the Gold Cup like I did last year. So to me, on his day, he's still the best horse. But look, Jerry Clam, a lot to prove. But will the 3 miles too soon in a Gold Cup? Yeah, it will. Better than maybe Fast or Slow, I don't know, but hopefully, yeah, 100%. Of course, I want Calpin to Champs because I think he's a great horse.
God, some race we've got in store for us, haven't we? I'll let you there, James, as well. Envoy Allen, I'm all over him for the right now. I think he's being massively forgotten about here. I really do. Scotty, finish us off then. Who takes the Savills?
Probably finish you all.